In 1453, the world witnessed one of the most dramatic turning points in history, the fall of Constantinople. This pivotal event marked the end of the Byzantine Empire, the rise of the Ottoman Empire, and a profound shift in global trade and cultural dynamics. The fall of this great city reshaped power in Europe and Asia, influenced the course of the Renaissance, and set the stage for the modern world. How did it all happen, and what lasting effects did it leave on history? Let's delve into this epic story of strategy, resilience, and transformation. 1. The final siege. The siege of Constantinople in 1453 was a culmination of decades of Ottoman expansion. Sultan Mehmed II, just 21 years old, led the charge to capture the city that had long stood as a bastion of Christianity in the East. Preparation for the siege. Mehmed II meticulously planned the attack. Understanding Constantinople's formidable defenses, its massive walls and strategic position, he invested in advanced weaponry. The Ottomans employed enormous cannons, designed by a Hungarian engineer named Orban, capable of shattering the once impenetrable walls. These cannons represented a revolution in siege warfare, giving the Ottomans an unprecedented advantage. The attack begins. On April 6, 1453, the Ottoman army of over 80,000 soldiers surrounded Constantinople. The defenders, numbering only around 7,000, were vastly outnumbered but determined. The siege lasted for nearly 2 months, with relentless bombardment day and night, leaving the city's defenders exhausted and the walls increasingly compromised. The final assault. On May 29th, Mehmed ordered a full-scale assault. Waves of Ottoman soldiers attacked the weakened walls, and eventually, they breached the city. The Byzantine Emperor, Constantine V, fought valiantly but died during the battle, marking the end of his empire. The city fell to the Ottomans, and its conquest was celebrated as a triumph of unparalleled scale. The fall of Constantinople was not just a military conquest, but a symbolic victory that marked the end of an era. For the Ottomans, it was the crowning achievement of their empire's rise to power and a dramatic shift in the balance of global influence. Strategic genius of Mehmed II. Sultan Mehmed II, known as Mehmed the Conqueror, was a brilliant strategist and visionary leader whose actions ensured Ottoman dominance. Military innovations. Mehmed's use of massive cannons revolutionized siege warfare. He also built a fortress, Rumeli Hisara, on the Bosporus Strait to cut off Constantinople's supply lines, isolating the city completely. His mastery of logistical planning ensured his troops were well provisioned throughout the siege. Naval superiority. Mehmed's navy played a crucial role. When the Byzantines used chains to block the Golden Horn, Mehmed audaciously transported ships overland on greased logs to bypass the blockade, surprising the defenders. This maneuver displayed both ingenuity and daring, cementing his reputation as a military mastermind. 3. Impact on the Renaissance. The fall of Constantinople had profound cultural and intellectual repercussions, particularly in Europe. Migration of scholars. The collapse of the Byzantine Empire prompted many Greek scholars to flee to Western Europe. They brought with them ancient manuscripts and knowledge of Greek and Roman texts, which had been preserved in Constantinople for centuries. These works reintroduced lost ideas and philosophies to a Europe hungry for knowledge. Revival of learning. This influx of knowledge fueled the Renaissance, a cultural and intellectual rebirth that reshaped art, science, and philosophy in Europe. The rediscovery of classical works inspired figures like Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo, whose works defined the era. Printing revolution. The knowledge brought by these scholars coincided with the invention of the printing press, allowing ideas to spread rapidly across Europe. The combination of new knowledge and mass dissemination created a fertile ground for innovation and progress. The fall of Constantinople acted as a bridge, transferring the intellectual heritage of the ancient world to a Europe on the brink of transformation. It was a catalyst for one of the most vibrant periods in human history. 4. Shift in global trade. The fall of Constantinople disrupted traditional trade routes and forced European powers to seek new ways to access Asian markets. Ottoman control. With Constantinople under Ottoman rule, key trade routes connecting Europe and Asia came under their control. The Ottomans imposed taxes and restrictions, making trade more expensive and challenging for European merchants. This shift drastically altered the economic landscape of the region. For centuries, Constantinople had been a key link in the Silk Road, serving as a gateway for goods like silk, spices, and precious metals to move between Asia and Europe. With the Ottomans now in control, these vital trade connections were redefined under their terms. Age of exploration. This disruption spurred European nations to explore alternative routes to Asia. Portuguese and Spanish explorers, like Vasco da Gama and Christopher Columbus, set out on expeditions that eventually led to the discovery of new continents and the establishment of vast colonial empires. Vasco da Gama's journey to India and Columbus's voyage to the Americas were direct responses to the challenges posed by Ottoman control of traditional trade routes. Economic transformation. The shift in trade routes moved economic power from the Mediterranean to the Atlantic, paving the way for the rise of Western European nations as global powers. Italian city-states such as Venice and Genoa, which had dominated Mediterranean trade, saw their influence wane, while nations like Spain and Portugal ascended. This new era of exploration and conquest reshaped the world, laying the groundwork for globalization and economic integration on an unprecedented scale. Cultural exchange and competition. Beyond economic shifts, the Ottoman control of Constantinople also intensified cultural and technological exchanges. European traders and diplomats interacting with the Ottomans often brought back new ideas, technologies, and goods, which further enriched European societies. At the same time, the competition between Europe and the Ottoman Empire fueled innovations in shipbuilding, navigation, and military strategy, driving the rapid advancements that characterized the Age of Exploration. The fall of Constantinople was not merely the end of an empire, but a catalyst for the exploration and colonization that defined the modern era. It fundamentally altered global trade patterns, economic structures, and power dynamics, leaving an indelible mark on history. 5. Cultural transformation. Under Ottoman rule, Constantinople underwent a dramatic transformation, becoming Istanbul, the jewel of the Ottoman Empire. Religious shift. The city's iconic Hagia Sophia was converted into a mosque, symbolizing the Islamic dominance of the region. However, Mehmed allowed other religious communities to continue practicing their faiths, fostering a degree of tolerance that strengthened the city's stability. Architectural flourish. Istanbul became a hub of Islamic art and architecture. New mosques, palaces, and public works projects transformed the city's skyline. The grandeur of Ottoman architecture reflected the empire's power and cultural richness. Cultural melting pot. The Ottomans embraced the diverse cultures of their empire. Istanbul became a center of trade, culture, and learning, bridging the gap between East and West. This cultural blending enriched the city and contributed to its status as a global hub. The transformation of Constantinople into Istanbul marked the beginning of a new chapter in the city's storied history, one that blended traditions and cultures from across the empire into a dynamic and enduring legacy. The fall of Constantinople in 1453 was more than just the end of the Byzantine Empire. It was a turning point in world history. From the strategic brilliance of Mehmed II to the cultural and economic shifts that followed, this event reshaped the ancient and modern worlds. The story of Constantinople's fall is a testament to the power of vision, resilience, and the enduring impact of history on our lives today. It stands as a reminder of how one event can echo through the centuries, shaping the course of civilizations and inspiring future generations.